Hello students, welcome back to my lectures of class 11 physics. We are studying our chapter motion in a plane. In the previous video we have studied about the projectile motion, in which we have given horizontal projection and we have studied about its path. We have studied about the time of flight and we have also studied about the horizontal range in the case of horizontal projection. Now here we have one more point, that is the velocity of projectile at any instant. मतलब किसी भी इंस्टेंट पर उस प्रोजेक्टाइल की वेलोसिटी कितनी होगी ये हम यहाँ पर कैलकुलेट करेंगे. एंड वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन दैट इन केस ऑफ दिस प्रोजेक्टाइल मोशन वी हैव टू वेलोसिटीज एंड बोथ द वेलोसिटीज आर परपेंडिकुलर टू ईच अदर. वन इज कांस्टेंट एंड द अदर दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द ग्रेविटी. नाउ हियर इन ऑर्डर टू find it, first of all we'll consider a point P, because at that point we have to find its velocity and this have the coordinates x and y, and at this point we have two perpendicular velocities. एक velocity यहाँ पर हो जाएगी which is vx, that is velocity along x axis, and here we have another velocity that is vy, that is the velocity along y axis. Okay, here what will be the velocity along x axis? Here I can write this vx, that is same as u, because the velocity along x-axis that remains constant, and this v is the velocity at this point P, and we are considering that the time taken by that projectile to reach from O to point P, that time is t. Okay, now what about this vy? This vy is the velocity at point P. Okay, and this is along the y-axis and that continuously changes under the effect of gravity. So first of all we have to find this velocity vy, and this is the final velocity. So how we can find this velocity vy? We have v is equals to u plus at. Okay, now here this v is the final velocity, u is the initial velocity, a is the acceleration and t is the time. So can I find this velocity vy? Here I have to write this equation for the motion along the y-axis. तो इसको मैं यहाँ पर कैसे लिख सकता हूँ? I can write vy is equals to uy plus ay into t. This will represent the equation of motion along the y-axis. Okay, now we have to find this vy, and what about uy? This is the velocity which we have given along the y direction, that is the initial velocity, but in this case we have not given any velocity along y-axis. So here we can write this uy, that is equals to 0. And what about ay? This ay is the acceleration, and here when the object is moving along the y-axis under the effect of gravity, so we can take this ay as g, small g, that is the acceleration due to gravity, and t is the time in which the object is reaching from O to P. So I can write this vy is equals to g into t. This is the velocity along y-axis, and we have this velocity along x-axis. Now we have these two perpendicular velocities. So what will be the resultant one? If we have two vectors which are acting perpendicular to each other, then their resultant v is equals to under root vx square plus vy square. ये हमने कैसे निकाला? फ्रॉम द ट्राइंगल लॉ ऑफ वेक्टर एडिशन. यहाँ पर साथ में क्या होता है? a स्क्वायर प्लस b स्क्वायर प्लस 2ab cos थीटा, एंड दिस थीटा दैट इज द एंगल बिटवीन द टू वेक्टर्स, और यहाँ पर दोनों वेक्टर्स के बीच में एंगल कितना है? दैट इज 90 डिग्री. तो यहाँ पर cos 90 कितना हो जाएगा? 0. तो जो रिमेनिंग टर्म है कितनी हो जाएगी? इट विल बी 0. और यहाँ पर रिजल्टेंट वेलोसिटी क्या हो जाएगी? इट विल बी दिस वेलोसिटी v, and we are assuming that it makes an angle of theta with vx. Okay, so here can we calculate this resultant velocity? That is v is equals to root of vx square. I can write it as u square plus vy square, that is g square t square. This is the resultant velocity of the projectile at any instant. Okay, now if I want to find the direction, कि यहाँ पर हमारे पास resultant velocity तो आ गई, but what is the direction of that resultant velocity? Now for that I have to use the identity of tan theta. So I can write here this tan, and this theta is the angle. So I can write tan theta is equals to perpendicular upon base. अगर मैं यहाँ पर ये triangle use करता हूँ, so in this triangle this will be the perpendicular and this will be the base. So what is the perpendicular? That is same as the vy. So I can write it as vy upon base. Here this base is the vx, or if I put the values, then I can write this tan theta is equals to vy. Vy is equals to gt by vx, that is equals to u. So I can write this angle theta is equals to tan inverse gt by u. So this is how you can calculate the value of direction or the angle theta that the resultant makes with the vx. यहीं पर अगर आपको ये थीटा कंसिडर करना किसके साथ, with the Vy, you can consider it, but in the final answer you have to write this angle theta with the Vy. Here this theta, it is with the axis x. Okay, so here in this way we can find the resultant velocity and resultant direction of the velocity.